Once again, it's turned out that Sarah Palin was right when she talked about death panels. ALG did a video 6 months ago showing Paul Krugman, Obama advisor, Nobel Prize winner, talking about death panels on ABC News and being very blunt about the financial impact of these death panels. The news today is about advisory boards that are being put together to tell people how to deal with end-of-life issues. This isn't actually the death panel. The death panels that are in this law are Medicare advisory boards that will in fact determine what care you can get when you get sick. And that's different than just advising people about end-of-life issues. Here's the video from 6 months ago with Paul Krugman on Jake Tapper's show on ABC.
Paul Krugman is an American economist, columnist, and author. In 2008, Krugman won the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences. Krugman identifies himself as a Keynesian and a saltwater economist. He is also a self-described liberal. A 2009 Newsweek article described Krugman as having all the credentials of a ranking member of the East Coast liberal establishment. Recently, while being a guest on The Roundtable, Paul Krugman said that the so-called death panels established by President Obama's trillion-dollar nationalized healthcare plan will end up saving, quote, a lot of money, quote, for the government. But don't take my word for it. Why don't you hear it from Paul himself?
It's amazing, actually, if you think about people on the right, they're simultaneously screaming they're going to send all the old people to death panels, and it's not going to save any money. That's a contradictory point of view.
Death panels would save money.
What?
I mean,
well,
theoretically.
the advisory panel, which has the ability to make more or less binding judgments on saying this particular expensive treatment actually doesn't do any good medically, and so we're not going to pay for it, that is actually going to save quite a lot of money. We don't know how much yet. The CBO gives it very little credit, but most of the healthcare economists I talk to think that it's going to be a really major cost saving.
Let's play that one more time.
Actually, if you think about people on the right, they're simultaneously screaming they're going to send all the old people to death panels, and it's not going to save any money.
Death panels would save money.
That is actually going to save quite a lot of money.
That's strange. I remember everybody giving me some sort of talking point about how the death panels were a lie.
But it was Palin's death panel lie that really stuck.
The lie of the year went to death panels.
You know, John, President Obama was right. There are no death panels. There were no death panels.
This idea that somehow the House of Representatives voted for death panels.
That is actually going to save quite a lot of money.
That will basically pull the plug on Grandma.
That is actually going to save quite a lot of money.
Because we've decided that it's too expensive to let her live anymore.
Death panels would save money.
What?
I mean,
well,
theoretically.
the advisory panel, which has the ability to make more or less binding judgments on saying this particular expensive treatment actually doesn't do any good medically, and so we're not going to pay for it, that is actually going to save quite a lot of money.
A slip of the tongue? A releasing of the facts? No matter what the reason why, it's simply one more example of why somebody deserves an apology.
The regulations that Paul Krugman's talking about go into effect in 2014 with discussion about them and regulations created around them in 2013. They demand that this Medicare Advisory Board cut the per capita cost of Medicare, and the only way to do that is to deny care to those who need it most, those who are most vulnerable, those who are the sickest. And that's why Paul Krugman concludes that this will save a lot of money. Sarah Palin is still owed an apology because today, these same people who called her a liar are talking openly about the cost savings for death panels. We're waiting.